Hello all, and today we will build React Audio Player. This all is done only with React from scratch. The biggest problem of this app is slider. We will customize input range in this tutorial. So it wasn't easy, but it's better way. As for me, it's better way because you need to write less code than to do it with event listeners and HTML, CSS only. So let's check it out. So let's begin. Okay, let's start do our slider for our player. I already created project and I deleted all files which we don't need, and I created folder components with another folder slider, and in here we have our slider and two CSS files for styles for our slider and styles for our sump. So in app component we have our player, each h1 tag, and our slider itself. And in index CSS file we have just initial styles for our app, body, we center everything in the body. This is our title, and this is our app component with box shadow, this one. So in our slider component we have our slider container, we have our div. This will be our progress bar. For example, here you can see blue one, and we will do it custom. And this will be our sump and input type range. This is actually our type range input. But on different browsers, this type range will be different as well. So for example, on Opera it looks like that. So we need to custom it and put opacity down to 0 and put our custom template on it. Now we need to customize our input type range. So for this we will use our WebKit appearance none. So this will give us opportunity to customize height, width. Actually we can customize color and everything else, but it still will be not perfect on all browsers. So we customize height and width and put opacity 0. For example, I can change color here, for example, and you can see it has been changed. Here I have variable for our height. So if I change in 10 pixels, it will be 10 pixels height. I put it back on 4 pixels. Next thing I need to customize is sump. So it's same. We have our variables for width and height, and WebKit appearance none. We can also change some color, but doesn't matter because we will put opacity later on 0 as well. So next thing, we need to customize, to add styles to our slider. So it will be background of our progress bar. For now it's white, and if we can decrease opacity here, we see it better here. If we put opacity on 0, and same, we need to put our custom sum. So this one is our custom size sum. So this is some styles: box shadow, position absolute, and POE events none mean that when we click on this, actually we want to press on this hidden jump from original input, and user select none. It's prevent highlighting while sliding the cursor. For this one are initial styles for our slider, or actually we need to add progress bar cover. So in later we will change this on different values, so it will be our progress bar cover. If I put 100%, it's covered 100%. Actually, we don't need a height variable for height here, so we can put just 10 pixels. I don't need to change it later, so we center everything. Now we need to, in our app component, create method on change and pass it through our props. So we import useState from React. We create our state percentage, and this will be our value from range input value. So we pass our props, we pass percentage and on change in our slider component. So here we need to import it. We need to input on change and percentage, and we need to pass in our range. Let me check if everything is right. Okay, now we can console log it and check if everything is working. So console log percentage. Let's inspect it. So initially it's 0. So when we move it, let's see, we can move it maximum is 100%. This is what we need. And now we can create state position in our slider component. Actually, we could create on change in our slider component as well, but later we need it will be easier for us to work with our app if on change will be in our main app component. So in our slider component, let's create state on position. So, and we need to import useState. State from our React component. We don't need this console log anymore. Also, we need to import useEffect. So now we will pass our percentage in our position, so we can move. So we'll be able to move our thumb and all other details with range. So let's call our useEffect. And second parameter, we put our percentage, because we want this useEffect to work only when percentage will be changed. So now we need to set position with our percentage. And now we can, in our thumb, we can change our position by using style, by using inline styles, and we change left value percentage with position. So let's save it. And as you can see, it's moving with our thumb. But if you see, a blue one is our range and the white one is our custom. So when we move it to the end of our range, we can see it's out of. So this bug, first I wanted to fix this bug by using transform translate. So, but later I decided to use it with margin left, to fix it with margin left, because when you use it transform translate, you have another bug. When you move it to the edge, it's like bouncing. So it's not what we want. We want to stop it right away on the edge. Okay, now we need to create state for our margin left. So, for example, it will be 0. So, and in styles, we need to add margin left value. So, for example, if we change it or -20 here, and now in the end our thumb is in perfect position, but on the start position it's out of range. So we want margin left for our thumb to be 0 in start and -20 on the end. -20 is actually width of our thumb. So we need to declare our width. For example, thumb width will be equal 20. Then we need to create value center thumb. So this will be our percentage actually. So our thumb width divide on 100. 100 is all value, all range. So multiply on percentage and multiply on -1 because we need every step to move it on little bit. So it's keep going and be the same position like blue one. And now we need to set our margin with this value. And initially we want to be at 0. Let's save it. Okay, and as we see, when we move it, it's perfect on the top of initial blue zoom. Now we want our progress bar to be changed as well according to our position. So we will create our progress bar with state. Actually, we could do something like style and width and copy this value. So if you see it's working, but there is also an issue. For example, if we put here 20 pixels height, so if we see in the beginning we have that white spot. This is what we don't want to have. If we change height of our slider, we want to be fully flexible. So we will do it different way. First of all, we will use it for pixels, and we need to use our ref hook, something like get element by ID, and we need to get width of our input range slider. So for this we need to use ref, and now we need to init it. So our range ref will be use ref, and we need bind it to our input. And now we can get value of our range. We can get width. For this to get width, we can use get bounding client rect width. This will give width of input for us, and need to change value on positioning progress bar width, and we need to count how many pixels on each step we need to add for width of our progress bar. So initially it's 20 because it's thumb width, so we can change it to thumb width. And range width, this value is divided by 100 because we have 100 steps. And on each step percentage, and we need minus every step. We need to minus thumb width, divide 100 and multiply on percentage. So this value will make sure that when we move it, our progress bar will be exactly on the edge of our thumb. So now we need to set our progress bar width with this value. If we do this, we can see it's perfect value. Now here we can put opacity back on 0. We can hide our range, input range. And we can change, for example, here on example on 10 pixels. And we have nice progress bar. Also, we need to count our zoom width, the same like we did with range width. So we don't need to check CSS file every time we want to change size of our thumb. So we need to create ref for thumb. And this one will be exactly like this. Only we use thumb ref, and we need to add our ref here. And see everything working like expected.